Hello and welcome to this new Monogon channel where I will be making videos about tips and tricks on Magicavoxel and in voxel game development in general. In this first video, I want to show you how to export a simple scene from Magicavoxel to a game engine. So here I have my scene that is composed of several objects and building, and I simply want to export that to a game engine. So you can see that everything is composed of several volumes, and I want to get it inside of my game engine, which is here, the Unreal Engine. So in order to do that, there is a simple option. You just go into the export menu here, you just click on OBJ, and you export this wherever you want. So let's export it here, content. All right, and let's see what it looks like. So we find it over here, and here's what we got. So we have a lot of different assets, but basically we have OBJ file, PNG file, and an MTL file. So what we will need to import inside of the Unreal Engine are the OBJ files. So I just filter this by type here, and I will take all of the OBJ files like that, and I will simply drag and drop it inside of my folder here. So here's the window that opens up with Unreal Engine 4 that you don't really need to change anything. The only thing that I will do is that I won't create a new material and I won't import the texture, because otherwise it will create one material per object, and I don't want that because every object share the same material. Here they share the same palette. So what I will do instead, those warnings are not a problem. What I will do instead is that I will create a new material here. So I will call this Magicavoxel palette, voxel with X, and I will import one of the PNG file that's been exported out of Magicavoxel, whatever, because they are all the same. So what's happening? It cannot be imported. Let me just save all that and try it again. It should work. Okay. Why doesn't it work? Why it doesn't work? Let's see. If I try here to do add new, import here, and I will try to go inside of my folder again, import this. We want to replace the existing asset. Oh, okay. It's because they have the same name. So this is something that you should be really careful when importing. This is a really good example. I almost thought of cutting the video here and redo it again, where I will find the solution of the problem, but let's take a look at that, what's going on here. If I grab this here and I sort it by name, you can see that all the three files have the same exact name. It's just that the extension is not the same, so Windows doesn't find any problem about this. So what you're going to do is that you're going to just copy paste this, for example, and I will just get it out of here. So this will be T like texture, and it will be, okay, so this is called voxel apocalypse zombie, and this is my texture, and now I can import it without any problem. So I will just take this texture, put it inside of the material. This is specific to the Unreal Engine. If you are on another engine, you will need to do the same thing, but with the specificity of the game engine. All right, compile this material, and now the magic will happen. I will just grab every of those objects and I will drag them into the scene at the same time, and you can see that okay, everything is placed correctly. It's just that they are not orienting facing the correct way. This is very simple. I just need to rotate them by 90 degrees, and here I have my scene as it was in the Magicavoxel file. Only thing is that doesn't have any textures, so I just need to drop here my textures, and now I have the textures. I will just grab my directional light so we can rotate it and see a bit more. All right, make it brighter. Here I have my scene correctly lit. So another thing, small thing, is that as you can see, every object has their pivot point in the middle of the world, of the scene. If I grab this object, for instance, you can see that the pivot, if I show the pivot, no, this is not the pivot. Okay, here is the pivot. So you can see that it's way off the object. So why is it that? Why is that? Let's say that imagine that you want this small barrel here to have its pivot at the center and not here in the middle of the scene. How can you do that? Well, you simply go into Magicavoxel and let's select this barrel. And I will go into the show IO setting here, and into export I will check both selection only, so it exports only this barrel, and I will also check the local space. That will make the pivot in the center. So when I export that now in OBJ, let's put it inside of another folder, which will be barrel. Okay, I save it. And now if I go inside of that, you can see that inside of my barrel, I still have the 3 files that are not named correctly. But this is the way Magicavoxel handles exports, which is not very good, but anyways. And now inside of my folder here, I will create another folder that will be called barrel as well. And I will import my barrel here. I don't want to import textures, okay. Alright, that's good. And now when I put this in the world, you can see that the barrel has the pivot at the center correctly. So I will just grab this texture and put it on that as well. And you can see that, here we go. We have our barrel with the center, with the pivot at the center. And so we can use it, place it here and there. So it can be some game objects with physics, for example, and it won't have any bugs. For objects that are statics like that, it's not a real problem that the pivot is off. It's not at the center of the object. But if you want to make those object dynamics, for example, you better want to put the pivot at the center. So this is it. This is the first video. This is the first tips and tricks that I have to share with you today. Stay tuned and be sure to subscribe to the channel so you can get more and more tips and tricks as the channel will grow. I will be posting not every day, but almost. So stay tuned and bye bye.